Hey everyone, so I saw the recent Bob Arum comments, and I mean, look, Bob Arum is what, 19 years old now, and it just the guy just he just seems to be so miserable and bad tempered. I sort of met him once in the year, what was it, 2012. I don't know, it was very brief. It was at a top rank press conference in America. We briefly crossed paths, but I didn't get a chance to interview him. I've been to the top rank office before, but on the day that I turned up, I think he was busy or well, I mean, it's just I don't know, I might try and interview him someday, or I'm not really fussed. I'd much rather interview Don King because Don King is more, you don't hear from Don King, do you? Obviously, Bob Arum gets interviewed all the time, so I don't know. There's nothing new that I could really ask him, but interviewing Don King would be fascinating. Obviously he's gonna do the whole Don King promoter act on me, but I don't mind. I'll ask him about, when he killed someone and is it true that he robbed money from Mike Tyson? I don't mind asking hard questions. But recently, and what I've noticed about Bob Arum, I don't know if you lot have noticed this, but he just seems to keep complaining about every fighter. He says Rigondeaux was boring. I can't promote Rigondeaux. I can't promote Terence Crawford. Women's boxing is rubbish. Like, he just keeps saying one thing after another. And then he had the problems with Mayweather, the problems with Pacquiao, and I just think maybe boxing's better off without Bob Arum because he's 90 years old. You can't perform at the same level. And then you're saying silly things. I remember when he said the thing about MMA UFC, and he was saying it's basically gay wrestling, it's men rolling around, gay men rolling around. Oh, that's a very stupid thing to say because I've seen street fights happen. Like, I'm not trying to sound cool, but with boxing is one form of combat. UFC / MMA is different forms of combat, but I've seen street fights happen. Look, I'm not lying about what I'm about to say. I've actually broken up street fights, and obviously what I'm saying, people do all kinds of different things in fights. You're not just gonna stand there and punch. But obviously Bob Arum's a 90-year-old man, so obviously you don't fight. But to say MMA is gay or yeah, but it's more it's what's the word? Realistic. Yeah, I think that's the only word I can think of. MMA is more realistic because if you're in a street fight, people do all kinds of things. They're not just gonna stand there and box you like a boxer. So he just over the years he just keeps saying so many silly things. I just think he's just too old now, and he's a lot of the stuff he says is stupid. He doesn't understand new age promotion, and a lot of these things he says are just not sensible. He doesn't seem to have any respect for MMA, but MMA is a very difficult sport, probably more difficult than boxing. Both of them are very difficult, dangerous sports. In boxing, you've only got to box. MMA, you got to cover different areas. Kickboxing, judo, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian. Also, I've never done MMA. Once I start doing it, I can learn more about it, but it's complicated. You can kick, you can use elbows, headlocks, arm locks, arm bars. So he just, he says a lot of silly things. And recently he said this thing about women's boxing. I think he's, basically saying women's boxing is rubbish and it's not good. Yeah, but we could say the same thing about him because you've got someone like Terence Crawford who is one of the best fighters in the world, and you're saying you can't promote him. But then doesn't that suggest you're the problem? Obviously, I know Bob Arum, you could say he's had massive people in the past, but were they massive because of them rather than Bob Arum? Because some of the people he's worked with, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, yeah, but those guys were always going to be massive with or without Bob Arum. Who else has he worked? He's worked with people like Sugar Ray Leonard, but again, Ray Leonard, Olympic gold medalist, an amazing fighter. So what happens when Bob gets people that are not on that level? Then you look at Mayweather and Pacquiao, but those guys were massive superstars. They took on so many high level opponents. But what is with Bob? He just can't seem to be able to help you if you're not on that level. Because if you look at all the guys he works with, people like Shakur Stevenson and Vasily Lomachenko, people like this, I don't really see. He hasn't really done a lot with them. whatever you say about Eddie Hearn, but Eddie Hearn, he does an excellent job in terms of promoting fighters. Nobody does a better job than Eddie Hearn. Obviously, I'm not saying Eddie Hearn doesn't make mistakes. And to me, Eddie Hearn doesn't understand boxing as well as Bob Arum or Frank Warren or, somebody's like some of the top ranked matchmakers. Obviously, they're better than the matchroom matchmakers. I'm not denying that, but obviously, maybe it'll be nice to see more people working together in boxing and trying to share their expertise. But yeah, I just think what he said about women's boxing is silly. I'm a massive fan of women's boxing. I think Katie Taylor's an amazing fighter. She's fighting Amanda Serrano. You've got so many great female fighters out there. Cecilia Brækhus, Delphine Pearson, Chantel Cameron, Kelly Reese. The list goes on. I interviewed a female boxer recently, Bellatrix Ortiz. And there's just so many out there you can name. Obviously, Clarissa Shields. The list goes on. But, I just think, it's just disrespectful to say what he said. I do believe in freedom of speech, so I'm not denying he's got the right to say it, but it's just silly comments. And I could say the same thing about you, because I clicked onto a Bob Arum interview. I watched the first 10 seconds, and then I just thought, I don't want to watch this interview. It's just like you're seeing an old man. Just look at him. He looks so unwell. It looks like death. Like it looks like Voldemort. It looks like he's on the verge of death. And you think I'm gonna sit there and watch an old man with a bad temper ramble on? Hearn said this. Hearn said that. It's boring to watch. So I could say the same thing about you. And you keep having all these outbursts. What you said to that Mike Coppinger, and when he said that thing about the woman that was trying to get Fury and Wilder to face off. But these are just stupid situations you're putting yourself in. And what happens if these people lose their tempers and the situation escalates? Bob Arum's part of the problem. You'd never see that happen at a matchroom show. Eddie Hearn's got great people skills. I'm telling you this for a fact. I'm not saying sometimes, yeah, maybe he does come across as arrogant, but he's got great people skills. He shows people respect. You don't see Eddie Hearn kicking off. You don't see him, getting journalists kicked out of press conferences, which it is out of order because these people come all the way to the press conference. They may be relying on it financially. So to just kick people out for asking challenging questions is wrong. Eddie Hearn doesn't do that. But yeah, I just think boxing's better off with Bob Arum, if I'm honest. But, I wish Eddie Hearn well. And obviously Eddie Hearn's got problems, I think sometimes he talks too much about things which haven't actually happened. Like the whole purse bids, and I just thought, well, I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to win it, or maybe he underestimated, Frank Warren, and who knows. But I wish Eddie Hearn well, and look, I wish Bob Arum well as well, but I just don't think he's got it anymore. And like I say, he's 90. I'm 31. There's some days you don't really want to get out of bed and go to work. I have to push myself because obviously I want the money. But if I'm like this at 31, and obviously I'm not the only one. I work in construction, and if you know how many times people don't turn up to work, so you got to give Bob Arum credit, like to do it at 90, but you're just not going to have the same energy as people who are decades younger than you. But let's see what happens. But I don't see him lasting much longer in boxing. He's just getting too old. Same with Don King. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.